Hey y'all, it's Tangie here showing you how I made these sculptural floral earrings. They're super easy, so just stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing you'll need is a block of clay. I like to use souffle because I like this color here, but you can use Craftsmart, Fimo, Primo, anything. This is how it looked after I ran it through my pasta machine a couple of times. If you don't have one, you gotta do it by hand, but it really doesn't matter because you can just ball it up like I'm doing here, ball it up, roll it up, whatever. But having a pasta machine does make it easier to condition your clay. But either way, like I said, you're gonna be conditioning the clay by hand a lot here. So the next thing you want to do is to start rolling it out in a long. You want to roll it out. It's just to condition it more once it's all softened. You want to roll it out until long. It's about 1 inch in width, and you're going to cut that to be about 4 to 5 inches long. You can do it smaller if you want a smaller earring, but these are for the larger ones that I make. As you see here, I do have a small bubble in it right here. I'm going to just smooth it out. You don't really have to because it doesn't matter, but if it bothers you, just go ahead and smooth it out. Now that we have this shape, we're going to get a little messy here. You want to basically pinch a little bit of the part. You can wear gloves for this. It'll keep fingerprints away, but you want to pinch, and then you want to rub your thumb in an upward motion. So you're pinching and then you're rubbing your thumb upward just to basically, I guess you would say spread it upward. It'll look like a little mushroom. And sorry, that wasn't really in frame, but I'm going to do another one. So you'll see the full process. Now for the second layer, it's the same thing. You want to pinch and basically pinch and I like you're snapping. Yeah, like you're snapping. That makes sense. So you're gonna rub your thumb upward, and don't worry about the back misshaping. It's gonna all form up later. We're gonna smooth it out later. Once we formed a nice amount of petal out, the space between the petals, you want to roll between your fingers, just to lengthen it. Lengthen it. Yeah. And yeah, make sure if you got a little bit of clay on your finger, like I do here, that you wipe that off. Because if you don't, it sticks and it makes a hole like I did here. But I'm going to rip that off because you can always just smooth it right back out. Now the third layer is the same thing. You want to pinch and pull up. Pinch and pull up, or smooth up, I should say. And if you're not using gloves, don't worry about it. I don't like to use gloves, but if you are using gloves, it's probably easier to keep the fingerprints away. Now I'm just making sure the petals are spaced out like I want them, and just shaping more of the petals before I move on to the last petal. And this last petal is pretty tricky, so I'm going to turn it upside down and create the petal from there. And this is going to blend in with the third petal, if that makes sense. It doesn't have to, but this is just how I do it, to create basically a flowy piece of art. I guess that's what you would call it, a flowy piece of art, a floral. This part is not really necessary, but I do like adding it, so I make it a long stem, if that makes sense. Just a long twisted stem like you see me doing here. And then I'm going back in to smooth out my petals, and then I'm going to round out the stem part in between the petals just to try to give them the same length in between. And I know some of y'all are thinking, oh my God, that's a lot of fingerprints. It is, but that's why we're going to smooth it out. And like I said, you can wear gloves while you're doing this to just avoid that part, but they're going to all be gone. Not all of them. I don't mind a little bit of fingerprints, but a lot, And what I was doing there was making a spot for where I want to place my post. I just formed the petal upward and placed it flat on the surface there. Now I'm just going into the stem part and making it into, like, you know, one of those curly pigtails that you see on a cartoon. It doesn't have to be like that, but that's what I'm doing. Now moving on to the second piece, or the other piece I should say. I'm going to try to stay in frame better this time, but yeah, sometimes I like to bring it closer to my face, so I end up going a little bit out of the camera. But anyway, here I'm just showing you that first step. I'm just trying to create, you know, the back piece for where your post is going to be. I don't know what to call that, but it's part of the petal. So you're going to create a pinch. Out of frame again, I'm sorry. But you can create a pinch, and you're going to pinch it all the way around, just like I'm doing here. You see how I left that little back piece there? That's going to be for my post. Now for the second petal, we're just going to pinch and go around. God, I got to stay in frame, but pinch and go all the way around. Well, not all the way around, just kind of like halfway around. And I made it a little too thin here, so I made a little hole, but I'm going to rip that off. And we're going to smooth that off later. Like I said, you can always make it better. Even if it does rip, you can smooth it out and reshape everything. So don't worry if you form a hole into your petals. And after that fourth petal, I realized I didn't leave enough clay to make my pigtail, but it's okay. I'm gonna make it work. I just try to make sure they're even in the size, but this one's gonna be a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner, I should say, not smaller. So now I'm just smoothing out my petals and giving the floral piece a curve because I like mine to go with the flow of the chin. Once they're in a shape I like, I'm going to put them in the oven at 270 degrees for an hour. This is it baked. That's the back side of it. I should have showed you that before, but that's the back side of it. If your back side doesn't look like that, try to go back before you bake it and roll in between the petals to make it a little bit more smooth. Now I still see a bunch of fingerprints here, but we're going to be painting these. So you're not going to really see them after I paint them. I do know some people use acetone. I don't really care for it that much, but I know acetone may get rid of fingerprints. Anyway, here I'm showing you a pair that I painted. The paint was a little bit thin, so I had to coat it like 3 times. Next time I will use a paint that's kind of thicker to give me more coverage without having to let dry and repaint over and over again. But I'm going to try a pair on for you so you can see how they look on. Here I am trying on a blue pair that I made. I actually turned them around the opposite way just to see how they look on. They actually look fine to me, which is what I was talking about in this video. But I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.